people, how are you all doing today? My name is Mark and I love making things sweet and in style. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And this is where I do anything and everything creative, which ranges from cake decorating, baking, cooking, arts and craft, and of course, gardening. So for today, I'm going to share with you my personal choice of top 12 houseplants that are actually very easy to grow, especially if you're a beginner and don't have an experience about growing any different type of plants. Okay, so a lot of people are actually questioning themselves, how can I start? For me, the very first thing you need to know is to study the area where you would want to put your plants. You have to consider, is it too hot? Is it too cold? Does it have a light source? Does it have a window where natural lighting can enter? If there's no window, is it bright enough that can actually give your plants some good lighting for them to process their food? There's a lot of plants actually that can tolerate low light levels. So by low light, what I mean is indirect incandescent light. Okay, so as long as you can read a book at a room, that's actually good for some plants. Okay, but a lot of plants do actually need natural bright indirect light for them to thrive, such as a location wherein there's a window. Okay, so without further ado, let's start with the different types of very easy plants that you can start growing at your office, home, or your working space. Okay, the very first plant that I'll be sharing with you actually is a Sansevieria. This is also called as a mother-in-law's tongue, snake plant, or sword plant. This is what it looks like. This is a very compact species. This is a Sansevieria laurentii or laurenti. These plants, you have to water them only once the soil is dry. So this is very perfect for those who loves to travel and just wanted to have a plant accent for their home. This is a type of succulent and it can tolerate low light levels. So what I love about these plants is that they're actually listed by NASA as one of the top 10 air purifying plants because they do have the capacity to filter out bad air toxins. Another species is this Sansevieria moonlight, which actually has a silverish gray leaf, which is very nice. Okay, they can tolerate low light levels. So with regards to the different requirements of each and every plant that I'll be sharing with you today, you can check it on the description box below, just in case I miss out something. Okay, I'll also be sharing with you my different suppliers so that you can actually get plants from them and then you can actually get potting mix from them as well. Another Sansevieria species is this Sansevieria fern, which is one of my favorite because it has a spreading habit compared to Sansevieria bacularis, which is very vertical. This one has a spreading habit. Okay, the next plant that I'll be sharing with you is Dracena. Dracena is actually what they call as the dragon plants, the Japanese bamboo. This is very easy to grow and you can actually buy this even in flower shops. And the cuttings, they easily root in water. And then you can grow it in water or you can actually grow it in soil. This is what it looks like. Okay, this is the ordinary Dracena. See that it's very pretty. It tolerates low light also and it's perfect for office spaces or if you want to have a vertical element at your space, you can actually use this one. Another type of Dracena is this Dracena circulosa. This is what it looks like. This is also known as the Japanese bamboo. This is the ordinary species, but nowadays there's a lot of different genera and variegations available. So you can check them out. If you do cut the stem, it can easily root in water. Okay, it's very easy to grow. And another species which I consider a little bit rare because it's hard to find is a Dracena umbriata. So this is what it looks like. Okay, it's very similar to the corn plant or the fortune plant. A fortune plant actually is a member of the Dracena family. But this one, Dracena umbriata, it's similar to the corn plant because of the leaves. Although it's very dark, it doesn't have those yellow linings. And then the stems are actually very thin. Okay? And then another plant that I'll be sharing with you that's very easy to grow indoors. Actually, this plant is almost hard to kill, same as the Sansevierias. This is Aglaonema. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So this plant is also called as Chinese Evergreen. They tolerate low light levels, but if you do want to buy a species that's actually has a lot of colors, because this plant has a lot of different variants, so you can have a lot of different color patterns in your home. If you do buy a plant that has a lot of colors, you do have to consider of putting it in wherein it will receive bright indirect light. Okay, it's very pretty. You only water it once the soil is dry, because if you overwater, you're going to kill this plant. Okay, and then another species that I would want to share with you is a Spathiphylllum or a peace lily. But what I have here now is the variegated species. There's also the common species is actually pure green. This produces white arum-like flowers that are very similar to Anthurium sencalia lily. So this is what it looks like. It's Spathiphylllum or peace lily. This is the variegated species. Okay, so if you buy one that has variegations, put it in a bright indirect light. But the green ones, which is the ordinary one, actually you can put it in a very low light setting. Another plant that I would share with you is actually POTHOS. POTHOS are actually one of the most flexible, I would say, when it comes to plants. This is what it looks like. These are actually from my cuttings that I actually propagated. It's very easy to grow. You see that? So this is a variegated POTHOS, and then this is the ordinary one. And then I'll show you, you can actually grow it in water also. This is my marble POTHOS that I'm actually growing in a Kratky method of hydroponics. So for the hydroton balls, I actually got this from Habiland PH. You can check them out. They're very accommodating. By the way, this video is not sponsored, okay? I'm just sharing with you my love for plants. POTHOS is actually very easy to grow, and in time, you see that these nodes will actually produce roots like that. And then you can easily propagate them in water or in soil. They tolerate low light levels also, which is actually very perfect. And then another plant that is actually sometimes confused with POTHOS is Philodendron or Philodendron. I'm gonna show you, this is what it looks like. Okay, so for you to identify whether it's a Philodendron or a POTHOS, actually Philodendron produces those sheet-like skin. You see that? This actually protects the leaves when they are still young, so they produce that some sort of skin, okay, which actually dries up. Unlike POTHOS, they don't have that. There's a lot of different species of Philodendron. This is the vining type. And then there's another one which is very big, like this one. This is Philodendron warsuizii. And then there is also Philodendron silum, which is perfect for your houses. This one is a smaller version and more compact. This is Philodendron sanadu, which is a bit similar to the Philodendron silum in terms of leaf structure. The next plant that I'll be sharing with you actually is FICUS or FICUS. This is very easy to grow, I would say. If you're familiar with FICUS, actually, the most popular one these days is the FICUS elastica or the rubber tree plant. But I can't show you mine because it's too big. So what I'm going to show with you is actually the cousin or the brother of that specific FICUS plant. This is a FICUS microcarpa. See, that's very pretty. This is very easy to grow. It tolerates low light as well. I highly suggest you do wipe off the leaves because they do get dust. Okay, so it's very easy to propagate by stem cuttings. I like this one more because it's very small and compact. I have here another species, same species actually, that I actually propagated from a cutting. This is a FICUS microcarpa, the brother or the sister of FICUS elastica, which is the rubber tree plant. Okay, the next plant that I'm going to show with you is actually the spider plant. This is also listed by NASA as one of the top 10 air purifying plants. This is CHLOROPHYTUM laxum. You see that? It's very pretty. This plant tolerates low light levels also. Gosh, it's really hot today. I'm sweating, but it's okay. I'm sharing with you my love for plants. There's a lot of different species of CHLOROPHYTUM. This one, CHLOROPHYTUM laxum, is also known as Lawiswis or Lourdes. The difference is CHLOROPHYTUM elatum or the spider plant that's very common. They produce a long flowering stalk that actually produces a lot of babies that looks like spiders hanging. This one It rarely produces that, but this produces flowers as well, which is color white, and I really love the variegation of this one. See that? It's very pretty. And then you can propagate them by division of clumps, okay, if you want to have more plants. The next plant that I'll be sharing with you is DIEFFENBACHIA, or the dumb cane. You have to be very careful with this plant, although this is very pretty. It's actually very poisonous. If you cut a leaf and then accidentally you had a sap on your skin, it's very irritating, it's very itchy. So this is actually what it looks like, that one. Okay, it's very pretty. They tolerate low light levels and they love to be placed in a bright indirect light. I have another species here. This is DIEFFENBACHIA Bosei, and then I have another one which is DIEFFENBACHIA Mary. This is what it looks like. Okay. What I love about this plant, they are very easy to grow. So they do produce a very long cane-like stem. And then once you cut it in different sections, you can root it in water or in soil. They grow very fast and well. The next plant that I'm going to show with you, gosh, it's very hot. I'm sweating. Why am I sweating today? Okay, the next plant that I'm going to share with you today is actually the DRIMIOPSIS. This is a plant that's very easy to grow. It likes bright indirect light, and it's actually a little bit rare at some areas. This is what it looks like. You see that? It has that very nice spotted leaves, and this is actually a member of the lily family. So in time, they produce flowers that are very similar to hyacinth, but way much smaller. But it's very pretty. It's easy to propagate. I actually propagated this. I separated some babies. I'm gonna show you where it is. Okay, here. See that? These are actually the babies of that plant I separated. It's very easy to grow and the leaves are actually very nice. The next plant that I wanted to share with you is a ZZ plant. ZZ plant is also known as Zymochilus zamifolia. This is very toxic, okay? So if you have pets, please avoid them from eating the leaves because they have high toxic content. This is what it looks like. It's very easy to propagate. In fact, ZZ plants you can propagate by leaf cuttings. You can root them in water or directly in soil. This is what it looks like. Okay. So if you're looking for a vertical element at the corner of the room, this is perfect to put on that location. It tolerates low light levels and it does pretty great. It has those palmate leaves similar to palms. You see that? It's very pretty. Don't overwater this. You only water once the soil is dry. And then the next plant that I would want to share with you is ferns. Ferns are actually very easy to grow. So this is the ordinary fern. They like shaded positions or very low light or bright indirect light. Okay? Yeah. So they're actually very flexible as well and very forgiving. And what I love about these plants, they are very resilient. So let's say for example, you forgot to water them. Of course, they would wilt and they would die. But once you continue watering them again and again, making sure that the soil is moist but not wet, they will produce a lot of fronds and leaves. So you can actually resurrect them very easily. And then there's actually an oxalis here. It's very easy to grow also, but I don't recommend this for beginners. This is the butterfly plant because I usually propagate a lot of them and put them in other plants. The last plant that I would share with you, which is actually very easy to grow, is a SYNGONIUM. So this is what it looks like. Wait a minute. Okay, so this is what a SYNGONIUM looks like. This is a variegated species, so I put it near the windowsill because it has those bright pink strikings. It's called a pink splash. So this is very pretty. I got this from Leafy Spot PH, so you can check them out on Instagram. This plant also tolerates low light, but if you're going to choose a variegated species such as this one that has a lot of colors, you would want to consider placing it in a bright indirect light so that you won't lose that color, okay? So there you have it. That's actually my top 12 very easy plants to grow at home. So I hope you learned a lot. When it comes to lighting, it's very important. I'll have a separate video on that because if you do choose plants that actually has a lot of colors, you would want to consider placing them on bright indirect light, which I'll be discussing on the next video. Hey guys, before I forget, I would just want to inspire you that gardening is not really that hard. In fact, it's actually a therapeutic thing that you can do on a daily basis. You know, these plants are living creatures. They do give a lot of positive energy. And for you to be a good plant parent, you just basically need to have the basic knowledge on the requirements that they need. So I highly suggest you do research where they are actually naturally located, so you would know what specific type of care you would give them. Let's say, for example, is it a cactus? You can find it in desert, so of course it likes dry areas. You don't have to water it that often. And of course, some plants, such as the ones on my back, this can be found in forest floors. So they do love a lot of moisture, but they don't want to be overwatered, okay? So don't be scared. You can actually start now, start gardening. Don't be scared. And of course, happy gardening. I hope I helped you in your gardening journey. So if you have questions, you can actually ask me anything on my social media accounts, which I will put in the description box below. Okay, so start gardening, start indoors. Bye!